Folks, if you don't know, this is Eric Pick Funk Smith. The man has played with some of everybody. Justin Timberlake, Janet Jackson, Rihanna, of course with his brother Jubal, who's like one of the coolest guitar players on the whole planet. If you don't know, after you watch this video, you're going to go and look up Jubal and Legally Blonde, and you're going to just be absolutely blown away. What's up, Eric, man? How you doing, bro?
I'm amazing, man. How about yourself?
I'm good. I'm good. So the corona junk you got you inside. I know
Hey,
you shedding.
believe it or not, bro, I'm always inside. I mean, so this is like
Yeah,
normal to me.
yeah,
Like I never like even on tour, man. It's like if I got a day off, I'm in my room.
yeah.
Like I
Sometimes
was,
that's the safest place to be.
bruh, I had 3 days off in Abu Dhabi one time. Everybody like, dude, we haven't seen you. I'm like, I know. I've been in my room service.
Hey, that's how you keep the gig though, too, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, it's just like professionalism doesn't just start and end on the stage. It's like everything in between.
Word.
How punctual you are, and just knowing that anything you do, good or bad, affects the artist. So like, if I get
Yes.
caught up in anything ignorant, it's gonna be like such and such entourage. You know what I mean? Because my name to most isn't that big. It doesn't matter to
Right.
to put Eric Smith on blast. But if you said Janet Jackson's entourage or Rihanna's bass player, then it's a story. You know what I mean?
Right.
So,
Right. A
and
big
I
story
represent,
too.
yeah, and I realize I represent God and my parents too. So,
Word. Word.
so
I get that.
I'm always, cautious of that.
I want to ask you, dude. Like, I know when people interview bass players and stuff like that, they typically go with how did you get started, where you got started. But I want to start because we've known each other for a while, so I know that you kind of have a gospel background, a quartet background. Um, but when first started getting to know you, our stories started. The stories that I started hearing from you were about auditioning for Sheila E. What
Right.
was that like?
Oh, it was the most nerve-wracking experience ever because remember, then we didn't really have social media, so all we had was like late night TV.
Hmm.
So when I get there, I recognize because I used to always look, who's playing on Arsenio tonight, who's
Yeah.
playing on Letterman, who's playing on Jay Leno.
Yes.
So I get to the audition, I see all these people that I've seen playing with, big artists already. So I'm like, oh my God, there's no way I'm getting this gig. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm just on some like, oh boy. But Chucky Booker happened to be assistant in an audition that day. So he was like, there to help Sheila out. And so Jubal, my brother, he actually drove up with me. So when I get there, I see all these people. I'm like, man, let's go. He's like,
Yeah.
no, excuse me? I said, man, let's go, man. I ain't about to play. He's like, oh, bro, we done drove 5 hours. Oh, you playing? You know
Yeah.
what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
so Chucky comes out. Jubal had met Chucky before through the townies or whatever. So Chucky like, hey, what's up, man? Hey, E, good to see you, man. And he's like, man, this fool talking about he want to go. And Chucky like, for what? What you talking about, man? I'm like, man, that I mean, because I'm actually name dropping now. I'm like, man, such and such is in there playing. He's playing. And Chucky goes, have you been listening? I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah. He's like, man, what you hear? Man, cats in there killing, man. He's like, but do you hear anybody grooving?
Mm.
And I was like, no. He said, trust me. Go in there and do that. You'll be just fine.
Hmm.
And so like, oh, go ahead.
No, no, no. You go ahead.
Yeah, so that kind of like chilled me out, it's just like, so I started breathing. And so then I started really listening, and Cass was just like going for guts. I mean, so by the time she called me in, I came in there like, I mean, obviously I'm nervous because I mean, Sheila E. And at the time, Sheila was still, hot.
Yeah.
Not to say that
Yeah.
she's not relevant, but I'm just saying like she was
Word.
still, on the radio. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
um, so first pass, like I'm just giving her like a little quartet stuff, So, but I'm playing super straight, like super straight, because the first song she had us doing was Love Bazaar.
Mm.
So that song is technically two notes.
Yes.
Bum,
Yes.
bum, 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 bum. And obviously, you can move in there. And so, I'm doing like little alternate stuff like
Mm-hmm.
and I'm just like keeping. So I made a pattern out of it. And
Mm-hmm.
so she walked over by me. She was like, vibing, and then she was like, give me something. So then I just did something like similar to what Prince did. And he went right back. And so then she gave me one of these, like, woo. And I was like, that's when I was like, okay, now I can just be me.
Mm-hmm.
So there was like so many, I mean, no BS, man, probably a good, if I remember correctly, a good 100 people from each instrument.
Wow.
Came to the audition. It was a
the
cattle
audition in,
call.
was the audition in LA or in the Bay?
It was in LA. She had two. So the first
Okay.
one was at Third Encore in Burbank. And then the second one she did at Jackson Street Studios in Oakland.
I remember Jackson
So
Street. Yep.
yeah, so we're doing, so like I started getting comfortable, whatever. So then so Chucky was looking at me like, woo, yeah, dog. So he was like, yo, man, he said, now you can relax, man, and give her that quartet. So what did it for is one pass, I changed the whole bass line up. But it wasn't busy.
Wait. Were you playing Love Bazaar in like a quartet style?
That's what I did on the last time. And so so when I did that, she wouldn't let any other bass players come in.
Wow.
So she would listen to keyboard players, guitar players, drummers, but she was like, nah, I want you to stay.
Yeah.
So,
Was Levi playing guitar at that time or no?
No, Bobby G.
Okay.
Yeah, Bobby Gonzalez was playing guitar. So so what I did is like literally it was like a quartet groove. So the way I always implemented quartet and like funk stuff, most quartet stuff like a drive would be like, in my head I just cut it in half. But play it like the same thing. So I started going like, instead of boom 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 boom, I was like boom 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 boom. It's like, dude, like I started playing that, I kid you not, and there's nothing technically hard about that. But everybody in the room started screaming, just like, so I was like, yeah, I'm gonna be all right. So then she goes, all right, I'm having another audition in Oakland. I want you to do the callback. So I'm like, all right, cool. So I was that hungry at that time. I'm like, man, I don't care who coming here to play. It's my gig.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because everybody, I already felt that everybody had the misconception, like you got to go in there and impress her with notes. But that wasn't what she was impressed by at all. She was impressed by your feel and, and just the pocket of it. So
it's interesting that you say that because I was actually having a little bit of a Facebook conversation with some cats, and I want to say this in a way that does not insult younger players or even players that just have massive chops, right? But nowadays in YouTube world, IG world, all that, it's all about how fast, how loud, how hard you can get your rocks off, right? It's just like musicians playing for other musicians.
Absolutely.
But in my mind, I've always been like, even though the artist may not be the one that calls you, depending on what level you're on, right? People rarely want somebody to be doing all of that stuff when it's not appropriate.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm really glad that you're saying that, because I think it's something that's, I think the sort of art of just keeping a groove is starting to be lost a little bit.
Absolutely. But I was blessed because, I was young too. And, early 90s when I first started touring, my first arena tour was with Tevin Campbell in 94.
I did not know that.
Yeah. So that's the first time I ever played in an arena. Sheila wasn't playing big rooms like that. So we
because in the 90s she was starting to, like, her star was starting to level off a little bit in the 90s.
So you might get some festival stuff, some Paramount Theater-ish type of stuff, but arenas, like, that was a whole different beast. So I went into the arena and Chucky was Tevin's MD. So Chucky's
Mm.
all about grease and like the funk stuff. So he'd be like, "Yo, man, let's get in there." But the OGs who was playing with Babyface at the time, Reggie Hamilton.
Okay.
Reggie Hamilton was playing bass. This kid Alex Androni was playing keys, and Reggie was really nice about what he said to me. But what he said to me stuck with me for the rest of my career, bro.
What's
He's
up?
like, "Yo, you killing, man. But honestly, you're just playing for everybody on stage because it sounds horrible in a house. Bass doesn't translate in a
Mm.
club the way it does in an arena. You know what I
Mm.
mean? So like if you're doing a House of Blues tour or something like that, the stuff that you're playing can be heard." He said, "Honestly, man, when you go up here, the whole bottom falls out." He say,
Mm.
my advice to you, hopefully, it's all in love. Hopefully you take it like this. It's like, man, like when you rehearse for a tour, find something that works and play the same thing every night because you limit your mistakes, first of all. And then second
Mm.
of all, you don't play something that you think is great as a musician that throws the artist off. And I was like, okay, so I started, just going to check out Babyface's show. And when I tell you it was like an old machine, man, it was so classy, man. They sound like a record. And
Mm.
I was like, oh, it makes sense. So
Mm.
that changed my whole perspective. I'm like, the reason people call me Pick Funk, because I played with a pick,
Mm.
and so I'm like, yo, man, I got to get these. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah. Yeah.
so put the pick down and just start like, okay, I started thinking like, okay, chops will get you laid, but pockets will get you paid.
Yes. Yes.
So
I wanted to ask you, of course, I was going to ask you about the pick thing, and this is
mhm.
a conversation that we kind of had before. Before I do that, though, did you wind up getting how did the whole Sheila E thing evolve?
um, actually, the Sheila thing was great for me because that's when I started networking. I started meeting a lot of cats.
Yeah,
Just
and you
being
had already made the Chucky Booker connection.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And so and him and DOA were boys, and DOA is like my big brother.
Okay.
So stuff that DOA couldn't do, he was like, "Yo, man, call E." And so
Right.
that's how I was able to work with Chucky, like on the Tony Rich project, on TLC, Faith Evans. We did
Yeah.
that together, and then Tevin. And, it's like that whole connection thing. And I just learned how to be a professional. Don't learn the show when you get there. Know the show
Mm-hmm.
before you get there, like know it like the back of your hand or whatever. So if there's any adjustments made, like, okay, we're gonna take verse 2 out, or we're
Mm-hmm.
gonna cut the chorus in half or whatever. It's an easy adjustment,
Mm-hmm.
rather than me having to think like, okay, damn, which part is the chorus? Hey,
Right.
right here, right? You know what I mean?
Right.
That kind of
Right.
stuff. So, and that's one thing that I've always gotten praise for is my preparation.
Right.
People know they can depend on me or whatever. And I just want to backtrack a minute because one thing that you were saying about, the young generation, how people have like a lot of information and that kind of stuff, which is
Mm-hmm.
great. And I don't want to ever discourage anybody from, getting as much as you can. But I would say as much of that stuff as you post some grooves as well.
Yes.
Post
Yeah.
more grooves than chops because I talked to like one of the biggest MDs ever. I'm not gonna put his name out, but we had a long conversation one day, and he was just like, "Yo, man, it's crazy because there's like a lot of bad cats, that want to get put on." He said, "But man, all they do is they post all this stuff, so I can't call you because I don't know if you can play a song. I
Let me
don't know if
tell
you
you
can play a
something.
groove."
Let me tell you something. I wrote a book last year called The Blue Collar Bass Player. And
Mm-hmm.
in one of the sections in that book, I was talking about social media and posting stuff. Number one, I think somebody's always watching,
Absolutely.
right? Even if you have just like a couple hundred followers,
Mm-hmm.
somebody's watching.
Hey, that's 1,000%, man. And it's like, and you just said something profound about somebody's always watching. Hey, man, I tell people this story, man. Long time ago, when I'm still on tour with Rihanna, I had
Mm-hmm.
some downtime, so everybody does local stuff or whatever. So I'm playing with some cats at Q's, Everett and
Okay.
Johns.
In Oakland. Yep. Yep.
Yep. So man, we get in this groove, man, and like I got my eyes closed. I'm like, whoa, hey, don't move. That thing was just feeling good, right? And so, man, I played the same bass line for a good 7, 8 minutes straight, bro.
Mm-hmm.
We were just in that thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know how you feel like somebody's like next to you or somebody's watching you,
Yeah.
man, I kid you not, I swear to God on my life, bro. Like, I open my eyes, dude, Michelle and Diego Cello standing right next to me just like this. Just like this. She had moved to the Bay. I had no
Yeah.
idea. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? She moved to the Bay for a minute. And so we took a break and she was just on some like, yo, like I love your feels. Like I would
Yeah.
love to work with you. It's like,
Yeah.
what's up with your schedule type thing.
Yeah.
And I couldn't do it at the time because I was on retainer with Rihanna. So, I mean, I was pretty much locked down. But I said that to say, what if my situation was different? Like I'm just somebody who's local who will love a shot. You know what I mean? And Michelle shows up, but I'm in there just going for blood.
Yeah.
That could have been a missed opportunity. You
I
know what I
got
mean?
one for you, and it's an embarrassing story. It's really embarrassing.
Okay.
There used to be a place called Tongue and Groove out in San Francisco.
I've heard of it.
Small joint. And this was like on some like really off night, man. This is like early 2000s singer-songwriter thing is really happening, right?
Okay.
So I'm in there, man, and I did something real stupid, man. I like sat down. I had like this funky look on my face or whatever.
Oh, wow.
Just bad attitude, man.
Mm-hmm.
And the drummer's dad happens to be a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame producer.
Oh, wow.
He was there that night. My man discovered Aerosmith.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, and he was loving also. You know what I mean?
Right.
But he was like, you never know who's watching.
That's
You
a
never
fact,
know
man.
who's watching. And I done been in situations where I've like had to like, hey, I can't be a part of this because, I've seen cats that we both know walk
Mm-hmm.
off stage because they like, hey, nah, this ain't. I
Yeah,
can't have my name attached to this. You know what I'm saying?
absolutely.
But it's a tricky thing. I mean, it's tricky on every level, but especially the level that you're on,
Right.
because so much is on the line all the time.
Yep. And no matter how great you think you are,
Right.
it takes one dumb thing to erase all of that because people don't talk about all the good stuff. They just talk about the one dumb thing you did.
Right. Now we're gonna come back to that. We're gonna come back to that because I really want to ask you about that. There's a couple of things I got a bunch of questions written here, but I also want to just kind of free flow. There was something you were doing earlier. You were singing your bass lines,
Mm-hmm.
right? And
Yep.
I've always thought that was so important. I teach a lot of adult students
Mm-hmm.
who, for some reason, don't want to vocalize or sing, right?
Right.
But the best drummers I know can, and I'm not talking about a whole lot of boom bap, you know what I mean? Like they can
Right.
really articulate their parts.
Yeah,
How
yeah.
much is being able to sing your part? How beneficial is that for you?
I think it's beneficial because then you can share it without your instrument.
Mm,
Because I mean, here is just muscle memory. You know what I mean? So once you get what you're playing embedded, I mean, this is gonna be second nature. But
mhm.
if you can't hear what you're playing and then sing it, that's gonna be a problem anyway because it's like now you're thinking because I don't know about you, but like when I'm playing, I don't think about notes. I don't think like A B C sharp D. You know what I mean? It's
No,
just
heck no, heck
yeah.
no.
I mean, it's like especially if stuff is coming fast, just like okay, it's muscle memory. So being able to sing what you're playing, to me, since I started off on drums, I'm always like, even in my car, because I rarely listen to music in my car because I'm always
Mm,
vibing in my head. So
and you got one of the
like,
dopest cars ever.
you said what now?
I said you got one of the dopest cars ever. Hey man, I seen the Prince Damon's video.
Oh wow! My 56.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Hey,
uh,
you pop my collar. You know who playing bass on that, right?
I didn't know. I thought Prince was playing bass. That was you?
Nah. And if Prince told you that he playing bass, I'm gonna
He
call him
did.
right now.
No, he didn't, but he played bass in the video, so I just assumed.
But you talk about a cold cat.
Hey,
That's a
no,
cold-blooded cat.
hey man, one of the coolest brothers I've. Hey man, just FYI, I don't let people drive my truck.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I
Okay.
don't. That's my baby. Now, I mean, if you want to drive one of my other joints, I mean, I'm not here. But
Yeah.
like, I mean, I literally put 12 years of sweat and tears into that. So, but he's
And
such a
Prince is the cat. He's one of my favorite people. Period. Now I shouldn't say that because then when he see the video, we're gonna have problems. I chat with Prince like every day, man. That's my
that's
that's
what's
my
up. Nah, he's a great dude, man. And he's invited me to come ride some horses and stuff. You know, I
yeah.
just haven't, done it yet. But
Don't hey, don't ride Apollo. When the next time you talk to him,
mhm.
ask him about that horse. Ask him about how that horse almost ran me off a cliff.
Oh, nah.
It's a funny story. It's a funny story, but you gonna have to. I'm gonna let you ask him about it,
Okay, but you literally fear for your life, though, right?
bruh. To this whole singing and stuff like that. Now, I've heard you say that you aren't a trained musician.
Not at all.
I disagree because I think coming up in the gospel world,
Hmm.
that's a training ground like no other.
Yeah, but it's like anything else. Like, for instance, if you gravitate to Cameo or Slave or whatever your love is, I mean, you can listen to the stuff every day, but your ears have to be at a level where you can put it here. Nobody showed me how to play a quartet bass line. Like,
Mm.
I was a drummer. And so when I asked my dad, can I get a bass? He's like, for what? You can't play drums. Learn one thing at a time. You know? For
Your
real.
dad ain't clown you like that.
Hey man, Pops was so hard on me, man. I cried a many, many tears. But I'm talking about like I'll be playing drums for the quartet group, man. It's like, see, Jubal was the golden child. You know what I mean?
Jubal's
Like,
older, right?
yeah, Jubal's a year and a half older than me.
Okay.
Jubal was cold on bass at like 6 years old. No lie, bro.
Okay.
Like, I mean, I feel like God gives us all gifts, but Jubal had something that just like, dude, how do you play? I mean, I have to tell you that whole story about how he even started playing. He's
Wow.
watching my dad the whole time, man. My dad's playing guitar in this quartet group.
Okay.
They're at rehearsal, the bass player quit. So my dad's like, man, I don't know what we're gonna do, man. Let's just cancel rehearsal, man, until we figure it out. She was like, Dad, I can play. Boy, go on outside and play. Sit down somewhere or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And so they started, just rehearsing without the bass. My dad didn't even see you pick up the bass.
Wow.
So my dad would play a chord, bling. She was like, boom, yeah, bling, 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 boom. It's like literally my dad tells a story. I mean, he passed last year, but he
Yeah.
would always tell a story like, man, everywhere I went, Jubal was right there. And I'm like, man, this boy been watching. And so
Yeah.
then he just started letting him play. And I mean, bass bigger than Jubal, man, but he's killing as a kid, bro.
What do you think it is about quartet and uh, what are like some key elements that just make it feel good? Because whenever like a quartet or a drive happens,
Hmm.
I don't care what the cultural background is, everybody starts to feel it.
And because it's really soulful, man. And it's almost like for instance, if you turn on a James Brown record
Mm-hmm.
in 2045, it's still gonna be funky.
Yeah.
As bad as Bootsy is, Bootsy wasn't playing no Bootsy on James Brown stuff.
Right.
Like, hey man, one of my favorite James Brown joints ain't a funky now. Big it, big it, big it, big it, big it, big it, doom 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 doom
Yeah.
doom doom.
If you had your bass in your hand right now, see, knowing you as I think I do, if you
Mhm,
were playing that, you would play doom 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 doom. You play that drive,
mhm.
but then you would also somehow comp those horn parts in there at some point as well.
I mean,
Or
actually,
that guitar part.
Probably. Hey, I think so differently, man. Because hold on, I'm gonna grab this acoustic bass just to, so I can let you know what I'm talking about. So, like for instance, this bass is tuned different. So, can you hear that?
Yeah.
So, if James Brown wouldn't fire me, you know, I mean, I might be playing something like.
Yeah. Just adding the walk-ups in there.
Yeah, or
So I got a question for you. Patterns. So we're talking about muscle memory.
mm-hmm.
We're also talking about ears,
Yep.
right? Which I think makes playing an instrument closer to how we speak, right?
Absolutely.
So when you were coming up, and let's say you went to the radio or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
what did your shed time look like when you were coming up? Obviously, you playing with Jubal a little bit, or was he not letting you play with him?
Man, Jubal was a weirdo, man. Me and Jubal never played together a lot, unless we were playing at church. Jubal would be playing stuff that nobody else would be tripping on, like Wes Montgomery. Like, he took his guitar everywhere, bro. I'm talking about he's in the toilet for an hour, just sitting on the toilet, just playing because the acoustics sound good in there. You know what I mean? So, like, a lot of Bob Marley stuff. I mean, he was playing with, like, this reggae band in Berkeley, Peter Applebaum and Hieroglyphics. You know what I mean? So,
I remember them, yeah.
yeah, so Jubal was in a bunch of stuff that, like, you would wonder, like, well, how you start to sound like that, though? Because his thing is so, like, Quartet and so, like, funky and Minneapolis stuff. But, he didn't start listening to, like, a lot of the funkier stuff till later, like Roger Troutman and, you know, I mean, the Prince stuff, obviously. But that's why his pocket is so crazy, man, because, like, the Quartet stuff, you know, I mean, literally all right hand stuff. Bing ding bing 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 ding get your bing ding bing bing ding bing ding ding ding. I mean, just like, I mean, a pattern, and you gotta, like, play that thing and don't get bored. And so
you're hearing him play, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, what are you listening to at the time when you coming up?
Man, like, so what made me want to play bass? Slave. Like, Slave, Cameo. Those were the first two things that had me like, wow. And so then from there, I just started tripping off most songs that I liked. It was because of how influential the bass was in it. Even something like as simple.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like all that stuff, man. I was just like, yeah, I want to be that dude. You know what I mean?
It's interesting. You just played a lick on My Girl that I play all the time. Like, it would I equate it to vocabulary. Like in the Bay, we say hella, right? Like if I see somebody in New Orleans and they say hella, I automatically assume they got some Bay connection.
Right.
Because that's not, you know what I'm saying? But then as the world gets smaller, we pick up these little pieces of vocabulary, and they may say it a little bit differently here, or they may say it a little bit differently there. But I think that's the thing that allows musicians to go, like, you could go anywhere in the world and just sit down and play with anybody.
Right.
I think that's what makes it the universal language. I hate to get long-winded here, but, like, one of the things about people today, I call it the tyranny of choice. I don't know where I heard this statement from, but let's say I take on a new student. One of the first things I ask them, what do you like? What are you into? What are you listening to?
Right.
And they start rattling off all these different things, and which is fine. But like now we got the internet and all this stuff. We got so many things coming at us. When I was coming up and I had to like save up money for a record, if you asked me what I was into, I
Mm-hmm.
could tell you I'm
Right.
listening to this. I know this whole record right here.
Absolutely.
You feel what I'm saying? So I think that's one of the only like real downfalls about having so much information because it's so hard to pin down. It's like, if I ask you what you're listening to and everything you tell me really doesn't have any bass in it, then I'm like, what is it about? What is it about this instrument that you want?
Right.
You feel me?
And that's why, man, like I do realize that most of the bass players that I liked coming up just played aggressive. And when I say aggressive, I don't mean like chops. I mean just like it's like when they hit the string, you felt it. Like Fred Hammond, he is one of my favorite bass players coming up. Like that first commission record, like that I'm Going On record, like literally changed my life, bro. Like I mean, I literally learned that record top to bottom, front to back. Then the second joint when they did Victory, like his choice of notes was dope to me. So he did this one song, "Go Tell Somebody." I mean, it was like this, but I obviously ain't gonna thump on the acoustic. So he played like it's like a D and A flat together. I was like, yo, that's crazy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, man, I was like into that dude, like everything Fred Hammond did, I was just like, yo, man, like I want to play like that. And then he's the one that I started listening to tones and stuff after that because he played, I want to say he was playing the Tobias back then, and he's the first dude I heard put like reverb on his bass. Then you can hear
In a lot now. Okay, so you lead me right into my next couple of questions too. Let me ask you the first, since you started talking about reverb. I was going to ask you, what are some pedals on your board that you just can't live without?
Man, I gotta have my MXR. Everything's Dunlop. My MXR compressor, my envelope filter, my octave. I gotta have all three of those, especially like on a Janet gig. Actually, even Justin Timberlake, because like for instance, the octave stuff, like Suit and Tie. That thing starts off with all octave. I'll be on my suit and boom, 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 boom. You know what I mean? So those three I gotta have. I like the Phase 90 too, but I mean everything just doesn't, call for it. But those three are my favorite.
Man, look, let me show you something. Buddy,
Yes, sir.
I got the dopest Phase 90 on the planet though. I'll tell you why.
What's good?
Tell you why. Because you know how the Phase 90 doesn't have a power, right?
Right?
Now you can't really tell if it's on or not until you play it, right?
Right.
So my partner took it and put this plexiglass in there. So when I turn it on, it glows orange. And it pulsates as like the speed of the light is based on the phase. Yeah.
Hey, hook me up, bro.
Hey, man! I got to call him. But this dude named Matthew Deptula in the Bay Area, man.
He's in the Bay too. Okay.
He not a play. He's a tinkerer.
Hey, man. So does he repair pedals as well?
I don't think so. He's a drummer, but he's like a electrician is his trade.
Right. I mean, because even though I rock Dunlop all day, man, but like I have this old, like I use this thing on like my first Rihanna tour. It's like a mini Q-Tron.
Yeah.
That thing got some guts in it too.
Brown Mark was just talking about the mini Q-Tron.
Okay.
Talk to him. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a dope interview too, man. It's like I was lightweight in hate mode. You know what I mean?
Hey, and that's why I called you.
Ah!
Man, I've got a question for you about the compressor pedal.
Okay.
Where do you put your compressor pedal in the chain?
First.
All right, all right, all right, all right. See, you sound like Darrell.
And let me tell you why though.
Yes.
Okay, so if I put it first, so like for instance, I EQ it or I set it depending on which bass I'm playing, because obviously certain basses have more output. So,
Right.
and if it's hitting it harder, it's gonna squish it more. So if I turn on, just say, my envelope pedal in the setting I have it on, it has a little more low end. It's like, so that's gonna make it hit the compressor harder. It's gonna be super squished, and so then my sound man's gonna be like, "Hey man, you choking me out here, bro." You know what I mean? So that's why I like to hit the compressor first, because it's only gonna control how much signal I send through the chain.
Okay. See, and Darrell has always said that to me.
Okay.
He's always said this, and I've learned in the past to not argue with Darrell Landers because it always goes back to I told you.
Right. Like I mean, early on, man, like I used to go to Darrell's house when he was living in Oakland, bro. Like he was the first one. He hooked me up with my Lakeland endorsement back in the day, and I learned how to play in Quartet. So man, our stuff was kind of like a dope bass amp was like a Sun, like a Sun amp, 212s, a tube head. You know what I mean? Like, so it wasn't no highs and mids and stuff. It was just like boom, 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 boom. You know what I mean? It's like you just want to rattle church windows, but Cat's like, nah, man, you need some tone, bro, because when you playing these big rooms, I mean, your sound got to cut through, and if you playing that loud on stage, front of house dude is gonna turn you down.
Right.
And so, my ignorance, I'm like, man, this little bass amp can't compete with all this, you know what I mean? And like, bro, you be surprised because the further you walk away from your cabinet, it gets louder.
But Darrell Landers, man, is a legend in the game
Absolutely.
of bass and effects. For those who don't know, Darrell Landers, Agape Soul is his band. He's got two dope records out. He's
Very
also
dope.
over bass innovations over at MXR. One of the things that I really appreciate about both you and Darrell is how no matter how much success you've had, every time I look, you reaching back. You doing
Absolutely.
something. So Darrell, back to what we were saying earlier about, now this is back in the MySpace days when I met Darrell.
Okay.
Darrell reached. I remember I saw Darrell at Guitar Center. Remember Guitar Center in El Cerrito?
Absolutely. Sao Pablo.
Yeah, and I was like, I had just seen him in Bass Player, and I was like, "Yo, Darrell Landers," and he heard, and he was just like, but he, was in traffic,
Right.
About a year later, man, he hit me on the strength of having seen some stuff that I was doing with an artist, and I was posting stuff on MySpace or whatever. And he was like, "Hey, look, I want to hook you up with a bag of, Dunlop stuff." So he gave me some strings and whatnot, and was just like, but he's a cat that has really helped me navigate and really kind of pull my coattails also when you need a little tough love as well.
Right. No, man, me and Darrell go back, man, real talk, close to 35 years, man.
Wow.
Like, I mean, I met Darrell as a young team, and he's always been consistent, man. Always looking out. I mean, he's incredible, and call it like it is. I will say this. I'll say it to whoever else needs to hear it. Dunlop would be nothing without Darrell Landers, because Darrell literally put them on a map, especially with the strings. They couldn't have got anybody like Marcus Miller without Darrell. You know what I mean? It's
he's a guy that builds honest, genuine relationships.
Absolutely. So,
and I think, and everything that we've been talking about, navigating in a business where you're essentially an independent contractor,
right?
And so much of what you do, so much of your livelihood depends on you being a person that people can go back and nobody can say anything bad about you.
Right.
People gonna try.
And even if they did, No, it wouldn't be validated. So nobody will believe. Like anybody that knows Darrell wouldn't believe it anyway.
Right.
You know.
Exactly.
So
Exactly. Exactly.
and that's what I've always strived to be as well, because I just feel like there's so many great musicians, but there aren't a lot of great people, like with integrity,
Mm.
that kind of stuff. So I'm like, okay, at the end of the day, everybody can play, but what kind of person are you? I want people to look at me and like, yo, man, I met that dude one time and he was amazing, like super cool. Like I mean, and I've been able to say that I've been blessed to play with some pretty big artists. Dude, I don't treat artists any different than I treat fans. I
Mm.
treat everybody the same.
Yeah.
I mean,
Facts.
yeah.
Facts.
How about like right now, artists, fans, and we're all on the same level.
Yes. Yes.
All on the same level. So and we
Great
should
equalizer.
absolutely, man. We should make sure that this continues the mindset. Like, yo, man. I mean, it's such a blessing to be able to do this. And I mean, dude, this was a hobby. I didn't expect no money to come from this, bro. I mean, just call it what it is. Like I wasn't, learning how to play. Like, yo, man, I want to make a lot of money on this thing.
Right.
That wasn't on my radar at all. I was just like, I just love to play with my family. And somebody just told me like, yo, man, you should consider, making a career out of it, man, because I think you're that good. I'm like, nah, man, and it took some people to believe in me, to get me to where I am.
Right.
So
You are there. There's two things I wanted to ask you too, and like I said, I don't want to keep you too long, but uh, is there a story or something you could share? Because we've talked a lot about humility. We've
mhm.
talked a lot about building relationships and things like that. Um, is there a story or something you could share of a mistake that you witnessed a musician make that either totally derailed their career or put them so far back that they having a hard time catching up?
I mean, there's a
Without calling any names.
there's a lot of stories
Yeah.
of that, man. It's just like people being drunk on a gig, smoking weed with the artist. Management is telling you, listen, I can't fire them, but I don't need you encouraging it. So don't do that.
Right.
Don't do that. And like, I mean, one of the homies, man, got sent home, because came in the room and management came in the room. He in there, just like, yo, I mean, they telling you, just like, yo, it's not cool, so don't do it. And he was really like devastated by that. But like, he got sent home. It's like, yo, man, but it don't matter. If somebody's telling you this is their rule, they don't want you to do it, then you gotta respect that.
You come starting to be a liability for everybody. Like you're
Absolutely.
saying at the very beginning, you start
No,
becoming
how
a
about this, bro? We got pulled over, and I had the singer, and dude, like I was so upset because like I don't knock people for what they do. If you smoke, if you drink, hey, as long as it don't affect other people, do you?
mm,
But I've never smoked
mm,
ever. I don't drink. People know like I'm the L7. They call me the square.
mm,
So I'm the bus captain on my bus. I know we have a couple other buses. People do their thing.
mm,
So we're leaving Laredo, Texas, bro.
mm.
I had no idea that we got to cross the Mexican border. So we crossed the border. I'm asleep in my bunk. Man, I see flashlight in my face. Everybody off the bus. I'm like, where we at? Customs. I'm like, all right, let me get my shoes. Nope, leave your shoes. Everybody off the bus. So get outside, man. It gotta be 5 o'clock in the morning. The bus bays are already open. And so little young customs agent come to me like, so you in charge? I'm like, yeah, sure. He's like, you got drugs on this bus? I'm like, I'm smirking. I'm like, not on this bus. I'm like, I feel sorry. I feel sorry for the other joints.
Yeah.
And he's like, so why's my dog going crazy? Dog at the bottom of the bus, like, and so I'm like, I don't know, man. He said, I'm actually one more time. So, dude, my background singer raised her hand. I'm looking at her like, I mean, I had no idea she even smoked. And I'm like, what do you raise your hand for? He said, do you have drugs on your butt? She said, no, I don't have any more, but like I had some weed, but I smoked it, in the last city. Maybe he's smelling, something in my purse.
Yeah.
So he said, okay, where is it? She said, I'll tell you. Nope, just tell me where it is. It's the top bunk on the right. So goes and get the little bag, and it's like some seeds and stuff at the bottom, whatever. And so this dude comes out, and he's just like, I could fine all you guys and put this on your record. I give everybody on this bus a $500 fine or whatever. I'm like, man, you ain't give me no $500 nothing. I don't smoke. Yeah, but it's on your bus. I'm like, I don't care, bro. I'll fight that to the end. It's like, you ain't giving me no $500 nothing. I've never. So I was so mad at her because I'm thinking like I've been like there's tours that I've been on. Dude, Canada is the absolute worst in terms of like if you have anything on your passport, they will deny people for anything, bro. Like I've seen people get denied. They had a DUI 10 years ago, and we're like, our management is fighting with them, like, but he's not driving here. We're just doing a show. Doesn't matter, like. It's at the officer's discretion, and we're saying no. Or like, somebody got caught peeing in public. You know what I mean? That's on their record. Like, nope, can't come in or whatever. So I'm sitting up here like, you could potentially mess up my money from here on out because of something that you did. So I wasn't happy about that at all. Kind of find out when she had the weed in her purse. When she saw us getting pulled over, she ate it. So it was still strong. You know what I mean? So. Hey man, I was so mad at her. So just that kind of stuff, and like I'd hire no more after that, And she's like, I made a mistake. I'm like, nah, you're a liability to me. So,
yeah,
So
hey man, when your livelihood, when your money is on the line, and your reputation, everything. I think also, back to what we were saying about somebody's always watching or whatever. People also are watching, and I know this is maybe not the same scenario, but people are also watching the company that you keep.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So, like Mom and them used to always say, birds of a feather flock together. You know what I'm saying? Yep. So aside from the things that we talked about already, what's another piece of advice that you would give somebody trying to make it in music?
Man, just be grounded in whatever it is that you're doing, whether that's spiritually, professionally, just have some stick to itness because you're going to hit some bumps in the road, man. It's like, and you're going to want to give up. That's not an option. You know what I mean? Because like, there's a lot of people that, have gone through a lot for you to even be able to have an opportunity. You know what I mean? If you got a passion for it, you got a love for it, you just got to do it. And you got to listen to the OGs and don't feel like people are hating on you. It's like, it doesn't benefit the OGs to hate on you. People are trying to teach you because like for me, I've been, like I said, man, I've been doing this since 1992, bro. Like touring, without having, to ever work like I can't say this isn't a regular job because it is, but like a 9 to 5, I've never had to do that. So I've supported myself through music this whole time. But I'm going to phase out eventually. You know what I mean? So I'm trying to teach these young cats, like, yo, man, you can do this at this level, but this is what it's going to take. Your attitude is so important because if somebody asks you to play something, it might be corny to you. But, man, you got to make that corny thing feel great. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like just because it's they're telling you, like, yo, man, what you just played right there, like, nah, bro, you got to keep that simple. And, man, that's why I'm glad I did a gig like Tony Rich because I'm coming from, a funk gig. I had to go back to this. I pretended I'm glad you went away.
Yep. Straight singer-songwriter.
Nobody knows it. You know what I mean? And like, know how to play something like that and don't get bored. Hey man, I'm up there smiling ear to ear because I'm like, cha-ching, cha-ching.
Yeah. I was saying something the other day about like drummers, man. Like, see a drummer, man, and the drummer just all of a sudden want to like start throwing all their stuff out. Look, man, I done played with so many drummers. Some you've heard of, a whole lot you ain't heard of.
Right.
But I done played with so many drummers. There's nothing that you're going to do right now that's going to impress me.
Right.
Other than playing the song. Being cool to hang out with. And I think drummers feel the same way about bass players.
Absolutely.
Like they say, shit, I done played with 1,000 bass players.
Right.
You ain't gonna impress me with what you doing right now. The
Exactly.
ones that stick out are not the ones. Well, the ones that stick out for the right reasons.
Mm-hmm.
For me, are never musicians who play for other musicians.
Facts. And but if you notice, the most successful musicians, I guess is a good word, don't play like that.
Yeah.
When have you ever seen Nathan East go for blood?
Right.
When have you ever seen Questlove go for blood?
Never.
When have you ever seen Pino go for blood?
Never.
You know what I mean? And Pino is one of the most respected bass players in the game because his feel is ridiculous. Like this little kid, Aaron the bassist.
Yeah.
Hey man, 9 years old, playing like a grown man. It's like, and he's got everybody's attention, and you've never heard him. Yeah, I mean, he did one lick on the Kirk Franklin joint that was nice, but he went right back to that groove, man. And to me, like, that's what people should be looking at. Like, yo, man, that's how I need to approach music if I want to be successful at it. It's good to have.
It's interesting now that we have all these, that we can see all these children now, and we're thinking, well, where are all these kids coming from? And I'll be like, well, Victor Wooten been playing since he was 8 years old.
Right.
You feel what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
He been playing since he was 8 years old. We just didn't have Instagram and all those things to sit. Right. There's a lot of people that have been out here that have been doing something consistently their whole lives. And if you do something consistently your whole life, you would think that you would get good at it. But when I see these kids, I'm like, I bet you don't. And I wouldn't discourage anyone from not reading, right? But I'm like, those kids are just picking up their instruments. They go into stuff they like, and they learning it.
And look, man, cats like Tony Royster, Thomas Pridgeon. Hey, man, them dudes is prodigies.
Yeah.
Killing as kids.
Yeah.
Jubal, killing as a kid. But like you said, there wasn't this platform for everybody to see them. So, I mean, there's nothing new. I think the only difference is I think cats like Thomas and Tony probably had to work harder because they had to learn records. They couldn't actually go to YouTube and break something down what somebody was doing. So they actually had to have ears, and I think that's what made them sound different because they developed their own sound as opposed to you watching somebody like, okay, Marcus Miller did that triplet like this, so I'm about to do Marcus Miller triplet. You know what I mean? So I think social media is a blessing and a curse at the same time. Yes. You know, so I mean, I would encourage like everybody, especially like if you want to have some vocabulary, something to say, that's great. But don't go to a fancy restaurant and just get dessert. If we approach the music the same way, man, it's like, think about it, hey man, look at the Ricky Minors of the world.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like
legend.
Hey, man, hold on, bro. Let me tell you a bad bass player who I feel like I think people know he's bad, but I don't think people know how bad he is just because you already see him like in a MD seat, man. Adam Blackstone, bro. Hey, man, let me tell you something, bro. So I had to learn the Justin Timberlake show because he was MDing that. So he asked me to come in. Like, cool. I'm like, man, I got you. Man, this dude sent me this show. I literally called him. I was like, bro, you probably called the wrong because he was like, nah, man, you know, like, nah, bro, you can do it, man. The show I sent you, man, I was having fun, but like, you ain't got to play all that stuff or whatever. But it's like his vocabulary and his feel is, so even the stuff that he's not, you know, doing anything, his feel is like dumb. Like, I mean, like all them Philly dudes though, Wayne Moore, you know, Derek Hodge, that is tribute. You know what I mean? It's like, but like they all special in their own right. But man, that Adam Blackstone, bro. When
you were doing that, so Adam Blackstone is MDing and you're playing bass?
Well, Adam put the show together and he was MDing or whatever. And he went to do some family stuff, like he left and, you know, so he asked me would I come in and play bass, and he had the keyboard player Daniel Jones take over as an MD while he was gone.
Gotcha.
So I ended up doing like 2 legs of that tour, and then he came back to do last leg, whatever.
This with Timberlake.
Yep, on the 2020
Yeah.
tour.
Man, that what was it on Netflix?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, hey man.
Y'all ain't got no good sense. Yeah,
Yeah.
you know.
Nah, bro. I'm telling you, hey man, that like the way he sees music, bro, and it's like the stuff that he hears. I'm like that's the note you playing? He's like, yeah, bro. I know it's weird, but like, yeah, that's what it is. I'm like, it ain't weird. It's sweet. I just wouldn't have thought of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, I mean, like this dude was playing this thing on Suit and Tie.
Mm-hmm.
I probably can't even play it. Wait, what's that? Cause I don't have my 5-string inside. So, I was like, all right.
So when you sat down when you sat down to learn that or to get that lick, how long? What did it look like for you to play that?
Well, honestly,
I mean, did you like just sit there and just like listen to it and run it, keep running it back, or how did you get it under your fingers?
I put that thing in amplitude, and I looped it. You know what I mean? Because I mean it's pretty much like you hear this stuff all the time in church. You know what I mean? Or like, you know what I mean? That kind of stuff. So like so he does, you know what I mean? But it's like goes to the B string. You know what I mean? So I mean, it wasn't something that took me a long time to get. There was other stuff in that show that took me a while to get. I was just like, no, he played some crazy stuff, man. But I really enjoyed playing that thing musically because every song was produced. Like literally, there wasn't one song in that show that you could just relax and chill because if you do, you like something's gonna come up. You be like, you know what I mean? Because you can't look ahead to the next song. You got to focus on each song.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a real show, bro.
Eric, I really, really appreciate you taking the time, bro.
Hey man, I appreciate you, man, and come visit us, man. And when I'm in New Orleans, I'm definitely gonna hit you up, bro.
You always got a place to crash if you come down.
Hey man, likewise. Let me know. It's all
sir.
love.
Yes, sir. Hey, Eric, I appreciate you, man. I will catch you on the flip.
Yes, sir.
Can't thank you enough, bro.
Thank you for your support too, man. I really appreciate it, bro.
Absolutely, 100. Stay safe out there, okay?
All right, you too, man.
All right, bro.
All right.
Later.